T-minus 1 minute. Following personnel report go, no-go for ALS, AEA, PEA,
Go.
AGA,
Go.
RDA,
Go.
NEA,
Go.
NTC. Vehicle and B2 systems are go for ALS.
Great. And you, at this point, you see basically the water system has come on full bore.
All right, T-minus 30, we're in ALS.
And you just got the official start of ALS. Next up is the hydrogen burn-off igniters come on at 12 seconds before T0.
Press. Red line like this. H-boys on.
Go for engine start.
H-boys are on and engine starts has been okay. Engine starting up now.
And all personnel, we've got engine start and we're into the plus count. All personnel, please continue to monitor your systems and grass is in control. Plus 60 seconds starting TBC profile number 1. Again, first now we've got a fire indicator. Everyone go ahead and ATS. So ATS. Okay, copy. Do you want me to hold down ATS? Okay, copy that. Can you cancel it out? TBC number 1 profile, remember? Okay, 2 minutes, 30 seconds, starting the FRT profile.
We're about 3.5 minutes into the plus count.
still good. That's a facility issue. And it's a vehicle. Keep us 4 minutes 30 seconds. That should in the FRT profile. Hot mic in 16. Keep us 5 minutes.
We're just over 5.5 minutes in the plus count.
Keep us 6 minutes. Over there from Mike in 16. Gotcha.
Several CRC errors were still in.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any TCC violations, so I copy, we're good. Thanks, sir.
We're coming up on 7 minutes of the plus count.
Keep us 7 minutes. And 2 plus 7 minutes, 30 seconds, starting TBC profile number 2. Plus 8 minutes. And then the TBC profile number 2.
All right, so we're just over 8 minutes into the plus count.
Well, personnel is coming up hopefully on the last depletion here, and we have a cutoff. All right. REA, can you verify REA on channel 16? REA on channel 16, verify. Safe engine shutdown, please.
Safe engine shutdown.
And you're in post shutdown standby, correct?
Correct.
Okay, all personnel, that takes us to page 656. All personnel go to page 656 to start the post-hot fire shutdown securing operations.
All right.
Okay, all personnel on page
Bill, as you said
656,
earlier, as we talked about earlier, the team was hoping to get at least 4 minutes of data. And All right, they are proceeding with their shutdown procedures now. As we said earlier, the team was hoping to get at least 4 minutes of data, and they did get more than 8 minutes, excuse me. So they should have gotten what they need. The team will obviously need to look at that data, but based on what we've seen, Bill, tell us more about what it looked like to you.
Yeah, so they clearly got the full duration that they were after, which is really great news, and I think you heard the applause. They had, the commanded shutdown, which is exactly what they were looking for. They had no TCC violations, test commit criteria violations that would have prompted an early shutdown. So that was really good news. Clearly there's a lot of data that's going to have to be analyzed. The engineers got to see what worked and what didn't, or what needs to be tweaked and what doesn't. But that said, I think the applause says a lot about how the team feels, that they got through the test, and it looks pretty good right now. Yeah, so there was some, observed burning on the aft end. One of the things that Boeing had done after the last test was to apply a lot of extra cork to the aft end, because we didn't, unfortunately, with this test, right? We're not flying through the thin air as we ascend, and so we knew we were going to have more of that, and that was one of the reasons why they added that. They also put a tape covering over the top of that. We knew that if the tape gets hot enough, that adhesive layer below the tape surface is going to start burning, and so we clearly saw a lot of that. But there was nothing that prompted a shutdown early, which was really good news.
Great, thank you, Bill. I think that's all the updates that we'll have for you here as the team proceeds through their shutdown procedures. So we'll turn it back over to Lee.
Thank you, Catherine. Congratulations to the team. So as the engineers gather the data from today, we look ahead to the next steps. This core stage will be refurbished and sent by barge to our Kennedy Space Center in Florida. There, it will be stacked in the iconic vehicle assembly building with other elements of the SLS rocket, including the twin solid rocket boosters, which our teams have already begun stacking on the mobile launcher. The core stage and boosters will then be stacked with the upper stage and the Orion spacecraft. All of this work putting us on track to roll out to Launch Pad 39B for a liftoff later this year on Artemis 1. We've got several other firsts on the horizon. This year, the first of our commercial lunar payload services, or CLPS missions, begin with 2 companies delivering instruments to the lunar surface. The golf cart-sized Viper rover will search for water at the moon's south pole. And a small CubeSat called Capstone will head to the moon, scouting the orbit to be used on later human missions. Meanwhile, the hardware for the next 2 Artemis missions, which will carry astronauts to the moon, is coming together. The Orion spacecraft for Artemis 2 is down at Kennedy undergoing assembly, and the spacecraft for Artemis 3, as well as the rockets for Artemis 2 and 3, are also being manufactured right now at Michoud. So that wraps it up for us here today. After a major milestone on America's return of astronauts to the lunar surface, a successful test of the core stage of the Space Launch System rocket. Up next, we'll be replaying the test, and we will have a post-test briefing in about 2 hours here on NASA television. We invite you to follow all of our progress online at nasa.gov/Artemis program, or join the conversation online with @NASA Artemis and @NASA_SLS. Thank you for joining us, and go Artemis.